Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's Focus for Monday, February the 6th, 2023 at 10:49 a.m. Central Time. Today's Focus, who was paid? Today's focus, who was paid? Now, I need to prepare you. This is going to be a very short episode of the Today's Focus podcast series because the goal here is I'm just going to present you a theological question. I'm going to present you a question, and then your job today, as you focus on this, is to seek all the possible answers. I want you to look from commentary to commentary to commentary. Grab the Sermons 2.0 app. Start listening to sermons. You can look up sermons on the Edify Christian podcast app, wherever you want to look. Look, commentaries, church fathers, anywhere. Just call a friend, ask Siri, ask Alexa, ask Google, ask whoever you want to ask. Your job today is just to try to find all the possible answers to this question that have been put forth throughout church history. You could look to, well, maybe C.S. Lewis, maybe have an answer. Well, we could get into some controversy there. There are a lot of different ways to possible answer this question in church history. I think there's only one right way to answer it. But who was paid? This question comes from 1 Timothy chapter 2. 1 Timothy chapter 2, starting in verse 5. 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 5. For there is one God, and one mediator between God and man, the man Christ Jesus. Let me read that again. For there is one God and one mediator between God and men, the man Christ Jesus. That's 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 5. For there is one God and one mediator between God and men, the man Christ Jesus. Now here's the verse 6. Who gave himself a ransom for all to be testified in due time. Jesus gave himself a ransom. Jesus gave himself a ransom. Now, here's the question. Who was paid? Or we could state it this way. If Christ paid our ransom price, to whom was it paid? Who was the ransom paid to? Right? When you pay a ransom, you pay it to someone, right? We understand that from a human perspective. Now, is this a situation where human analogies don't really work and can lead to theological errors? How do we understand that Christ paid the ransom? Who was paid? Now, there's been a lot of suggestions throughout church history. It's going to be very hard for me not to just go into teaching, but all I want to do, this is going to be the shortest Today's Focus podcast episode ever. And the reason it's going to be so short is because if I even try to start talking about it, I'm going to start giving you answers, or I'm going to start at least giving you possibilities, or I'm just going to give you the answer. And I don't want to do that. So today, 1 Timothy chapter 2, verses 5 through 6. If Jesus paid the ransom, to whom was it paid? Who was paid the ransom that Jesus paid? I want you to really think about that. And you can go to BibleHub.com. You can type in 1 Timothy. You can probably just go to Google and type in 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 6. Look for the entry for BibleHub.com. Once you go there, it's going to give you all the English translations. Do all the English translations use the word ransom? What is the Greek word for ransom? That would be interesting to look up. And then look at all the commentaries and say, who was paid the ransom? And see, do all of them agree? Do you have any 15 agree, but you got 3 over here with these other perspectives? You may even type in a Google search bar, who Jesus paid the ransom to whom? You could probably do a Google search that way. Jesus paid the ransom price to whom? That could possibly be a good way of looking at it. But I would be very interested And now remember, the goal for today's focus is to spark conversation. Now, I like you to email me and tell me, well, I found this, I found this, I found this, I found this, or I think this, or I was taught this, or I heard this. Email me, newsif@yahoo.com, newsif@yahoo.com. That's newsif@yahoo.com. And those within the Discord channel, I'd love to get your thought. To whom did Jesus pay the ransom price? Jesus paid the ransom price to whom? To whom was it paid? Who was paid? 1 Timothy 2, verse 6. Doesn't matter. Is the focus on the fact that he paid it? Or is the focus on to whom it was paid? And if you get that answer wrong, like let's say there's only one right answer to whom it was paid, what is the eternal consequences of not knowing stating that it was paid to this person when it wasn't? Is that a big deal? Is it like, does it matter? I'd love to get your thoughts on all of this. Again, newsif@yahoo.com, newsif@yahoo.com. Today's focus is 1 Timothy chapter 2, primarily verse 6. If Jesus paid our ransom price, to whom was it paid? That is your today's focus for Monday, February the 6th, 2023.